My name is Joshua Jackson. I've been in prison 12 years, 12 and a half years, something like that. And I've spent 7.5 years of them 12 years in IMUs. I'm at Monroe Correctional Complex, Special Offenders Unit and C Unit. So when I came to prison, but being that I was all in the newspapers, and they took me right off the prison bus and they threw me in the hole. So eventually it was going to be like for a couple of days that I was going to be in the hole because they wanted to check and see if I needed involuntary protected custody, and I didn't, you know. But when I found out they weren't going to let me out of the hole, I started acting out, flooding my cell, doing the self-harm. They would write me up for this stuff, and eventually there were so many write-ups that they recommended me for a program, and they sent me from there to Stafford Creek, and I stayed there about 6 or 7 months. I had something happen where one side of my face had got paralyzed, you know, and it's still like that, you know. And they weren't giving me no medical help. A long time they never gave me no medical help, and then my behaviors just kept getting worse and worse because they kept me isolated. They just kept me in this box all day, and they wouldn't let me out. And then they sent me to Monroe, to their IMU. And I ended up staying in IMU over there about three and a half years almost, you know. They weren't giving me no help. They were just leaving me there. And every time I'd do self-harm, they would strap me to a bed or they'd put me in a chair. And I mean, there was months I was on the bed. It's just a joke. This mental health is a joke. And it was a nightmare, and I was so angry. And then you got not just me, you got other inmates in here that have severe mental health problems. They used to have a thing where they would say, I need to see blood before I can come down there and talk to you. That a lot of people in IMU don't belong in IMU. That if they were given the proper mental health care, they'd have a way to utilize it instead of acting out.
Since filming, Mr. Jackson was released and is living successfully in the community.